why it can actually be a good thing for your child. According to a 2017 Gallup survey, 21% of parents say they don't know what to do when their child is bored.
But development experts say that letting kids figure out what to do with boredom can lead to creativity and self-discovery. Clinical psychologist Dr. Kelli Rugless joins us now with more. Dr. Rugless, tell us more about the benefits of boredom.
So there are actually quite a few benefits of boredom. You mentioned a couple of them already, one of them being creativity and imagination. When your children are bored, it forces them to come up with new ideas and figure out ways to entertain themselves, which builds problem-solving skills and imaginative play. It also engages them in understanding themselves, right? They're more likely to discover who they are and what their interests are when they have some free time and are forced to figure out how to fill it. And then lastly, it builds resilience. Being bored is hard and sometimes it's frustrating, and so it teaches kids how to deal with uncomfortable situations and how to tolerate a little distress, which is really important long term.
I love that, and it makes so much sense. In our house, if someone says, I'm bored, we say, only boring people are bored. I mean, that's probably not the best response. What do you say to your kids when they're bored? How do you help them learn to embrace their boredom?
So this is definitely easier said than done, but when your kids are bored, you're really going to want to validate that experience for them. Validate the fact that it is hard to be bored, but that you know they're capable of doing hard things. And then, you know, help them come up with ideas. If your kid's not used to having free time, you might have to jump in to jumpstart some of those ideas, but make sure that you step back out because you really want them to practice. So don't get sucked into solving it for them.
So let's talk about tablets, iPhones, iPads. As a parent, you might not always have the time or really the energy to plan out a host of activities you already are doing and juggling so many things. Is it okay to give a kid a cell phone or a tablet to play with if they're bored? And is there a way to give it to them and maybe help it spur more creativity or just be a bit more of a productive experience?
Absolutely. It's okay to give your kids a screen. We all know as parents that it's hard to just keep your kids entertained all the time. But again, set some limits on that so that they're used to having time to fill on their own. Get them in the habit of having free time so that it's not always on you to fix it for them.
Is there any chance that when your kids say that they are bored, if they're bored all the time, what are some of the negative effects or impacts that you should be looking at that are perhaps red flags that go beyond just boredom?
Well, when kids say they're bored, they don't always mean the word bored. Sometimes when they say they're bored, what they're really saying is they want some more time with their parents, that they haven't had enough time to hang out one-on-one with them. It might mean that they want some change in the routine. Maybe they've been doing the same thing over and over and they want to switch things up. Or it could mean that they want some more independence. They want to be able to choose what they do in their free time rather than having everything so structured and laid out for them.
On the other hand, what if your child is in a state of just feeling incredibly overstimulated and you're noticing that they're just kind of in a sensory overload space? How can you help them deal?
Absolutely. Schedule in that free time, right? This is the kind of stuff that you have to do in advance when you're looking at your child's schedule to make sure that you are regularly building in free time so that they don't get to the point where there's too much going on and they can't emotionally handle it. So always make sure that you're building in free time, even when we're not on summer break during the school year.
And, you know, Dr. Rugless, there's this movement of parents, like, they're really involved. They're really playing with their kids all of the time. Growing up, that wasn't really the case for some of us. Our parents left us to our own devices. At what point are you know, how do you strike that balance?
Yeah, I think, again, you're right. A lot of us didn't grow up with our parents spending as much time as we might try to spend with our kids. And so what we want to do is we want to take the lessons that we learned from our parents, but do it in a new way. So, again, build in more free time, spend time when you can, but make sure you're giving them time to spend on their own.
All right, Dr. Kelli Rugless, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Doctor. You're watching NBC News Daily. We'll be right back.